My second lesson for the day is going to be about the videos that I've been receiving from Elaine and the comments I get from Brian regarding evolution. I want to make it clear that I understand the concept of adaptive evolution. But adaptive evolution only deals with things that are possible within the creature itself. The creature's got to have those elements that produce that particular kind of mutation to the next step of existence. You know, Elaine sent me a video about these algae, that they had this algae in this enclosed system, and they introduced a predator, and the predator would attack it, and the algae would be eaten. And it's a bubamysa. You know why it's a bubamysa? I'll tell you why it's a bubamysa. Because in the real world, you don't have predictability in predators versus victims. You have a population that can be destroyed and die out completely. We call this extinction. There is no such thing as natural harmony. There is a balance in nature, but there's not harmony. It's not harmonious. It could be violent or it could be pleasant, but it's never harmonious. It's not really balanced just like this. It's not an orchestra. Life is filled with different events. In the long run, God has got it orchestrated. But in the short run, things don't look so good sometimes. And there are things that disappear. Let me give you an example. Elaine listened very carefully. You know, for the last, I don't know how many millions of years, people have been killing each other. And the stronger ones, somehow or other, usually beat the weaker ones, unless the weaker ones are smarter, and they've learned how to have fancier bows and arrows. But unless you have fancier bows and arrows, or unless you have traps, you're going to be killed in a war. So you got to run away, you got to hide, you got to learn how to hide. But that's about it. Now, a lot of people have been killed by other people. Don't you think we would wish that somewhere or other in our survival we should be able to flap our hands and move and fly? That doesn't happen. Hasn't happened in, I don't know how many generations, 1 million generations, 500,000 generations, 100,000 generations. I mean, if man's been around for several million years, you know, it's a lot of time. Why don't we flap our wings? Just because you have a need doesn't mean it's going to happen. Evolution doesn't happen by itself. And it's not something that can be imposed. Oh, this is how and why it does it. No, it doesn't learn. You don't learn evolution. You don't learn how to develop wings. Just as something that is blind doesn't learn how to see. Can't imagine it. Be nice to see. This whole thing don't make sense. Evolution don't make sense. No matter how much they tell you, oh, this fits in, this goes this way, this goes that way. Eyes don't happen. Sight doesn't happen. There's no reason to learn how to hear. There's no reason to learn how to speak. These are powers that are imposed within the conditions of the creature itself. And if that algae became a multi-celled animal, that was within the capacity of the algae itself. It's not something that can be superimposed by some event because there's a predator. Just like nobody's ever developed wings to fly away. What do you mean they don't need to? How many people got extinct? How many people were killed? Holocaust killed 6 million Jews. You don't think all of them wanted to fly away? Come on, billions of people have been killed by other vicious people. Nobody's developed wings. Don't happen. Need does not create things. It has to be within your body, within your nature, within your DNA. within your chemistry. Within the chemistry of the algae was the ability to stick together. The daughters shouldn't separate. That doesn't make it a true mutation, molecules to man. Adaptive mutation is not synonymous with interspecies, molecules to man. And that is the basis of Lee Spetner's argument. What Lee Spetner did was quantify what it takes to actually do that. What would it take for us to have wings? He quantifies that. And it's impossible. That's why it hasn't happened.